Welcome. Today we're going to discuss the technique Thrusting Wedge, its execution, some of the problems that arise through the execution, and ways to compensate or fix those problems. So before we begin talking about the technique, let's talk about some of the concepts that are in this technique. It's very important to know that we're doing upper body pivot points. What I mean by that is the fingertips, the elbow, and the shoulder. We're going to be utilizing all three of them in this technique. I'll get into that in each individual move. So let's begin with the first move, which we need to talk about the ideal face attack, which is of a two-hand attempt to choke, but this could potentially work off an already choke. We're going to stick to the ideal face of him coming in. So the first problem that can arise here is that we attack the attacker instead of attacking the attack. So the problem with that is, as I come in, if you notice his hands are already on my face as well. Remember, it's very easy to change your hands from a choke to an eye poke or a hair grab, especially if he was much taller than me and he had longer reach. We don't want to do that. We actually want to attack the weapons. So as he comes in, we want to wedge. This is where the wedge comes in. If you notice, the pivot points is the fingertips. My fingertips are staying. The elbows are coming out. This is also applying the rule of keeping the upper hand. So typically when we talk about the upper hand, we talk about getting our hands on top. Well, this does the opposite of that, which is actually being on the bottom of the hands, because it gets to a certain degree when once he's high enough, I still have the advantage or the upper hand. So even though my hands are on the bottom, I have the advantage, I have the available targets. So let's continue from there. We come in, get the wedge. Now keep in mind that this is a sophisticated basic. We are doing one single move with multiple effects. We're borrowing his force as he comes in to get the claws as we do our wedge. So the next thing we're going to talk about is this arm. A lot of the times we continue to try to come into this elbow, and we haven't done anything to cancel this hand. He can potentially block or strike us effectively with the hand as I'm trying to do my elbow. So a way to compensate for that would be to check his arm as we continue with the move from the wedge. Now, the problem that can arise with checking his arm is reorbiting it. You throw it at in a circular pattern towards you, it's going to come back up to hit you. You want to make sure you go towards your opponent. Then you'll set you up for the next move, which will be the elbow. So let's talk about that one more time. So as we come in, this move should all be done, again, sophisticated basic, continue it. As we come up. Now notice the pivot point changed to the shoulder. So before we were at the fingertips, now we're at the shoulder to get here. And then we're going to move up to the elbow. Make sure when we're doing our elbow, we're going to keep a compact unit. So one of the problems that happens here, again, height differences. If he's a lot taller than me, I'm not going to reach him with this elbow. So a way to compensate for that is what's happening with the left hand. I'm going to pull his right arm down to bring his head down towards me and cancel his height. The way I want to do that is down at a 45. I don't want to pull straight towards me. That's potentially going to bring him to a headbutt. And I don't want to pull him to the side. That's going to take the target away from my face. So I want it down at a 45 as I get my elbow. Now keep in mind, you also want to shift to your horse. Anytime we're in a neutral, when you shift to the horse, it'll give you farther reach with your elbow. So from here, we shift to our horse. We get the elbow. We're using opposing forces. Once we get this strike, you can then do your heel palm as you settle back into your neutral bow. Typically, one of the only problems that happen here is you claw with your fingernails. You want to make sure you don't claw with your fingernails. You should always be clawing with the fingertips. So once you do this, notice now that the pivot point has changed to the elbow. So the elbow is now the pivot point. You don't have to shift to your neutral bow. If you still need to reach, you want to stay in your horse. Just make sure you settle as you drop. Cover out if you need to. So one more time at the end. Keep in mind that right here, we're also doing what we did at the beginning. So it's sophisticated basic. This is a heel palm with a claw. It's done one-handed vertical as opposed to two-handed horizontal at the beginning. So let's walk through it one more time. Attack the attack. Pivot point are the fingertips. Make sure you get the wedge. Use the borrowed force from your opponent to get the claws. Continue the same motion. Don't reorbit. You want to go towards your opponent. Pull as you shift to the horse, borrow the opposing forces, get the elbow compact unit, settle with your claw, sophisticated basic with the heel palm, cover out, all this would maintain the upper hand. So a little bit quicker. We hope this video helps you. Thank you very much.